Inshallah, we'll continue our journey of interdependence. I'm not sure how many of you attended Eid Salat, especially the first one. Over there, I mentioned one of the main things, which is Imam Zaman, Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, he had this taqi, where he mentioned, the people asked him how we can meet you, right? Where he said that there need to be a coordination among the people. Ijtima'ul qulub. This is so important that Imam is not showing up and all the miseries in the world is because we are not coordinating with each other. We are sometimes, majority of the time, physically present, like in a room, not with the heart, we are not connected with each other. So this fifth habit is very important for this human relationship, which means we do not have a relationship. That's why we are seeing so many problems in families, within families, with parents and the children, communities, siblings, staff, organizations, because we are lacking this skill of interdependence. And that's why Imam have this taqi written by his hand, Walau anna ashiya'ana. And again he said that if these our followers, they will gather ala ijtima'i qulub, by their heart they're together, then it says that our liqa will be very fast, soon. So again, let me remind that we are in this journey of interdependence. In fact, this verse I discussed last time, that Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, Allah is addressing to the people who they believe. And I discussed this last time, isbiru wa sabiru. Isbiru, you do sabr. And then Allah repeated, wa sabiru. One time you do sabr in your individual life, other time you do sabr together, with each other. Not just like for your own trial, your trial with each other. You need to do that, sabr. Warabitu, and you connect with each other. La'allakum wattaqullah. Remember that this series we have is 7 habits of a muttaqi person. Wattaqullah, mean taqwa. Oh, people have a taqwa. La'allakum tuflihun, so you will be effective. La'allakum tuflihun, so you can have falah, you can have success. So again, that fifth habit, and again it's a reminder, the definition of interdependence. Interdependence is higher than independence. We are, in majority of us, if we will become successful in our private victory, the next step is public victory. Like we discuss over here, like in the 7 habits, when you are proactive, when you have the second habit, begin with the end in mind, and the first thing first, then you achieve personal victory. Now you're organized, you're proactive, but still you're lacking that public victory, interacting with other people. For that, you go to the second one. When you become independent, then you go for the 4th habit and the 5th habit and the 6th habit. And 6th habit is the fruit. Let me bring this tree. So again, you see this first habit, second habit, and the third habit is a foundation. It's a foundation. These are the roots. Without this root, there is no fruit. Okay? So we need to work on these first 3 habits seriously. If we have any time failure in the 4th and 5th habit because we are not strong on first 3 habits, Then we have this fourth and fifth habit. Now, this first, second, and third, they're in sequence. You have to go through this sequence. You have to attain these first three habits. Then you go for the fourth and fifth. But as far as like a fourth and fifth, there's no sequence. All right, the fourth one, last time we talked about win-win. And the fifth one, today we are going to talk about seek first to understand, then to be understood. Which means listen before you talk. Listen before you talk. All right, so again, we did discuss this last time. What is the most important factor in human relationship? It's trust, right? Among all your friends and family members, you have a good relationship with someone you trust. And the second thing is communication. Communication is a unique gift for the humans. If you go with the philosophers, you go to Aristotle. Aristotle defined human as hawan natiq. Al-insan hawanun natiq. That is that hawan which has nutq, communication. Some people say nutq as intellect. Some people say nutq as speaking, that ability to speak, communication. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also in Surah Rahman, Allah have this, وَعَلَّمَهُ الْبَيَانِ. Allah taught him speech. Allamahul bayan. Although this bayan is very delicate things, I'm not going. Just explaining that this speech is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for us. Okay? That's why human, they communicate, their relationship, because human, they're not designed as bird. They're not designed as an animal. They have to live with each other. Their trial is such that they have to live with each other. And that's why, remember that I will keep reminding you that Imam Staqi, he said, it's not that I need individual muttaqi people. He says, no, I don't need that. Yes, this is the base. If you're not muttaqi, you're not going to go to the next level. But the next level is interdependence. You need to interact with each other. You need to be nice with each other. Ruhama baina. Not with kuffar. Ashadda al-kuffar. You're tough on kuffar. But when it comes with mu'mineen, no, it's not Karbala. It's not that there is a battle of haqq and batil. No, give up. Communicate. Listen to each other. Okay, so listening is one of the most important things. All right, let's go move on. All right. So the fifth habit is seek first to understand. Last time we talked about emotional bank account, EBA. That's one of the most important deposit. Right? Which means even trust, you will gain someone's trust if you try to understand that person. How many times, when I'm dealing with family's issues, with children's issue, the first complaint, Maulana, my husband, he doesn't understand me. Maulana, my wife, she doesn't understand me. Children, my parents, they do not understand me. Parents, my children, they do not understand us. Understanding. Like majority of the people, they're crying, please understand me. Right? We are always doing this effort. Let someone understand. Not that. This is no, that's not the way. It's not going to work this way. Naturally, Allah gave you these 2 ears and 1 mouth. Right? 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's not 2 mouths and 1 ear. It's not opposite. We treat it this way. Like we like to talk. We are not willing to listen. So it's obvious. The beauty of the 7 habits, in Arabic we call it badihi. It's obvious, self-evident. Right? It's all of these principles, why they are so popular, why everyone is accepting it, because they are self-evident. You need to understand someone so you make him understood. If there is no relationship, you cannot make other person understood. So anyway, let's go on. So again, there are only 4 components in this one, and again, these are first seek to understand, then to be understood. The main components of the habit is, number 1, do not prescribe before diagnosing. Listen empathetically, right? Avoid autobiographical response and use pathos, ethos, and logos then communicating. Okay, just keep these 4 principles, 4 components in your mind. Okay, let's go one by one. All right. The first one is very easy. You're not supposed to prescribe before you diagnose. You're not supposed to. Do you like a doctor? You go like a physician. If you go to him and that person without diagnosing, he will write down a prescription for you. You will not like it. But it's not only with physicians. It's with everyone. Diagnose. First diagnose. Let's say you like to resolve between husband and wife. Right? Before you suggest something, that suggestion is your prescription. Understand other person. Understand other person. With the same thing with the children. Same thing, like someone is acting as, like, let's say, staff. So as a teacher, you're communicating with the student. You need to understand that student. First diagnose, then prescribe. First diagnose, then prescribe. Anything, your work environment, your family environment, with your sibling, first diagnose, then prescribe. And again, which means go slow if you want to finish first. Okay? These days, you know that the more and more there is the more advancement in like a medical field, the more the first thing they say, all right, let me go and diagnose. They will write down 5 tests. Blood test, urine test, this test. What they're doing right now. They say, okay, fine, I'm not going to say anything until I'll see the result. So I'll diagnose what's going on, then I'll go and say, okay, what's the problem? Okay? All right. Let me tell you this. It's a very interesting story. One time, again, Stephen Covey, he mentioned in one of his books, he said that one time, one parent shared this information with me. He said, I had this young child, and I was asking him not to go to the corner, around the corner. Do not go around the corner. But the child was keep going over there. And again, I was thinking, I have to discipline this child. So when he was not obeying me, I was slapping that child. And then says, do not go around the corner. The child was going again to the corner. And I have been trained that I have to discipline this child. And I was slapping again. When several times I did this thing, that one time this child, young person, came with the tears in his eyes and says, Dad, what is corner? What is corner? He didn't know what is corner means. Okay. Or like another story, this father, he said that my daughter, she was like really, in school, she was good in language and everything. She started this math class and now she is behind. she can't understand. And she was getting frustrated and she said, I hate school. And finally I said, all right, what's going on? Then I asked one of the teachers, she says, well, we started this new topic of subtraction. He says, okay, honey, let me go and work with you. I brought that child, I put like 5 apples, and says, how many apples are these? 5. If I take away 2 of them, how many will left? I saw immediately, her eyes lit up. He says, so take away means subtraction? She didn't know what's the meaning of subtraction. Take away is subtraction. Again, first diagnose, then prescribe. And this is very important for teachers, right? Like I mentioned so many times, you're building a nation. You're building a nation. You will build personality and you can, I don't want to say the second part. Yeah, you can destroy personality. It's all to you. If you build the personality, this person, whatever he will do in his life, you'll get sadaqah jariyah. You will get reward. Okay? All right. First seeks to understand. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said this. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ إِلْمٍ. Do not follow what you're not sure knowledge of. So first thing is knowledge. Otherwise, we may have this, and that's exactly what happened. Again, we are communicating with other people. If we do not have 100% knowledge, we end up going this autobiographical response. Again, it's a deeper discussion. The time is less. I'm not going to go in depth. Let me just keep monitoring my time slot so I can spend time on something which is important. Okay. So we need to have knowledge. Otherwise, we'll have this option that we will go and probe. We'll evaluate, we will advise, all these things, which is not effective. Okay. Now, let's see. A person came near Amirul Mu'mineen and he said, Usani bewajhim min wajuhil bir. Oh, Amirul Mu'mineen, please recommend me something, some aspect of righteousness by which I will be saved or I will be successful. Qala Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam said, and look at the sequence. What's the first one? Istama. Listen. Summas istafham. Do istifham. Then you seek fahm. Then thumma istayqin. Then you have that yaqeen. Then use that knowledge. So it's a process. What's the first thing? Listening. We are lacking listening. Majority of the time where we have a problem with communication and with relationship, we are not listening. We always try to speak, say something. Not. The sequence is you listen. Then you seek fahm, understanding, and then you will reach to this yaqeen, and then you will have that knowledge where you will apply this knowledge. Okay? Let's move on. So, first step is to listen. Let's see another hadith from Amirul Mu'mineen. Innamal basir. Basir and basar, right? Several times I mentioned this part. Basar is eyes. People, they have eyes, they can see. Basir is insight, knowledge. What's the first step? Man samia, who is listening. And then that fa is a sequence, right? Fafakkir. Then nazara fa absir. Fantafi'a bil ibr. And then you get lesson from it, right? Again, sequence is you listen. The first step is listening. Then you reflect. Then you see and get basirat. And then you benefit from the lessons. This is the sequence. And then that person will call, Imam said, that person is basir. Okay? Again, importance of listening. Look, even this verse. Like the people in the day of judgment, they says, "Qalu law kunna nasma'u, law kunna nasma'u." If we have listened, aw na'qilu, and we have reflects on that listening, ma kunna fi ashabis sa'ir. You are not being ashabis sa'ir. Ashabis sa'ir are those people, they are in burning fire. Okay? So listening is important. Now, then Stephen Covey came up and he says, and again, not only Stephen Covey, other psychologists, and they says, well, listening, there are different levels of listening. Sometimes someone is talking to you, you're ignoring that person. Other time you're pretending that you're listening. Then you have a selective listening. All the time there is a conflict. They says, well, Maulana, that's like my husband, he was saying this. He says, look, I was saying something else. You're just picking up that word, right? That's selective. That's something I get bothered, right? My attention on this word. And husband is the same way, right? Selective listening. And then attentive listening. And then active listening, right? Again, I think the next chart is better. Okay. The first one, when we are ignoring the speaker, we are not really listening. We are just waiting for our turns to speak. And already knowing how I'm going to respond, right? That's what happened majority of the time. I know how I'm going to respond, right? Someone is coming and I'm not listening. I say, oh, I know that. I know that guy. I know that child. I know this person. I'm ready to respond. I'm just waiting so I can go and start talking. That's ignoring. Again, my mindset may be preoccupied or some other things. Pretending to listen, showing sign of listening. I'm doing all these things, but in reality I'm not listening, right? My mind is somewhere else. I'm thinking about the speech tonight. Okay, yeah, of course, yes, yeah.
You would say interesting.
Huh?
And you would say interesting.
Interesting, yeah. Yeah. So that's again pretending to listen. Selective listening, again, I already discussed that part. Again, something which interest or impact me. Attentive listening. No, this is good. Attentive listening is good. We are focusing on the speaker. And again, we are asking question, taking notes, right? We are listening. But that's also not required. It's need to go higher than that. We need to have empathic listening. That listening, it's not just we are focusing on the word. And that's we are lacking. Especially males, they are lacking this part. Females, they have to understand this part. Because male, they do not understand feeling that much. Okay? That's why you notice that females, when they're talking with each other, they're more comfortable because when they're communicating, they understand each other's feeling. Not just the word. Okay? Most of the time, misunderstanding in the families is like we are male Male, they do not have that feeling part that strong, okay? Some people, some of them maybe, but so this level of the listening is not just looking and listening the word, going beyond that word for the meaning and connecting with the feeling. Okay? And understanding the emotions and real meaning behind the words. And that's where you say, I like to seek to understand. Okay? Now let's see. In Quran, we have these, actually there was fourth one, but I didn't bring that part. There are four vocabularies. I just brought the three one. As-sama' wal-istima' wal-isqa'. First, the Arabic part. فَالسَّمَعْ يَكُونُ بِقَصْدٍ وَمِن دُونِ قَصْدٍ. You're listening, which means the sound is going in your ear, and you may have qasd or not qasd, which you may have intention or not. Something is going in your ear. Okay, if you understand this, you can also understand several fiqhi masail. Let's say you're going in a mall or somewhere and you do not have intention to listen to that music. You're just passing and going and talking. Again, that music is not haram for you, okay? Because you are not doing istima'. You're doing just hearing. Just you're hearing it, right? You're not paying attention to this. On the second one, istima' is yakunu biqasdin min ajal al-istifada. That you're doing it for the benefit of, to get the benefit out of it. That's the second level. And the third level is haysu tarkiz wa tafa'ulul qalb wal mashaa'ir. That's the higher part. Okay, let me go. Again, the first one, this verse is an example for the first. I'm not going to go for in depth. You just have this picture. You want to take a picture, take it. Okay. All right, here. What's the difference between this word? Sama means that sound reaches the person's ear, and the persons may even notice the words and their meaning, but he does not pay attention to it in any way. Rather, he tries to turn his attention away from those words and meaning. Now, like I mentioned, if you feel the difference between these two, then you can have, you understand several things, even from fiqh. The second one, istima', is listening. Person put attention to the sounds he hears and listen to it with intention and will. Let me discuss this verse first. We have this verse, Surah Al-Araf, verse number 204. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنُ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ. Right? You do istima', which means you listen with attention. That's why now sometimes you're listening Quran, you're not paying attention, you're walking by. There the fatwa will change. If you hear that ayah sajda and you're not listening, you're not doing istima', right? You're just sama, right? And especially if it's coming from recorder or you're not paying attention. So then fatwa will be different, okay? There will be difference of opinion among Maraji, but again, like I look at some of them and they says, well, someone asked from, I think it's from Rahbar, that if someone is listening, he's just listening, he's doing faqat sama', not istama'. Is it sajda wajib will become or not? He said that If someone is doing istima, he must have to do sajda. If only sama, then sajda is mustahab, not wajib. That's his fatwa. It's mustahab, not wajib. Okay, so you got this difference between these two words. Okay, just hearing and paying attention, right? And the third one is this one, where you are listening with heart, as per this hadith of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Please say it aloud, salawat. So again, that's the difference between this different kind of listening from Quran. Like I brought this third one also here, that give practical consideration to somebody's to make an efforts to hear, listen closely, pay attention to, take into considerations. These are from the grammars. All right. Let's see, time. So again, we know that, again, let me go back to this. So there were four components of first seek to understand, then to understood. There are four components. Do not prescribe before diagnosing. Then have this active listening. Then avoid autobiographical response. And you will do it only when you're doing active listening. And the fourth one is use pathos, ethos, and logos when communicating. What is this pathos, ethos, and logos? Or how to get inside another person's mind and heart. That's an active listening. That when you're listening to your child or your student or anyone, you're going not just listening the words, but you're going into the heart and mind of that person. How do you do that? So again, they have this, I think it's Greek, ethos. Huh?
I think it's Socrates. Was it Socrates?
Okay, yeah, he was like that person, right? So he says, and again, majority of the time, especially me, when I was going through this, I says, I make so many mistakes because I'm very logical, right? I always try to go in logic and says, I don't understand why this person is not understanding logic, right? Why this person is not understanding logic? It's obvious why you're not understanding logic. Then again, when I went through this, I said, oh my God. So you have to create that credibility. Let me bring this other one also. You bring credibility first. And again, the recommendation that you bring this credibility first, then you touch the emotion, and then you use logic. Okay? Then you lose logic. Now, is there anything in Islamic text about this? Yes. Here. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, ثلاثة يستدل بها على أصابة الرأي حسن اللقاء حسن الاستماع حسن الجواب. And again, that's an address, ظهف العقول, page number 323. Let me go and open up this. Okay. All right. Asabatur Rae is like discerning, like, okay, let me just bring this. Three things indicate discerning opinion. You have this best opinion, where you cannot make mistake. Imam Sadiq said three things. Husnul liqa. You have that interaction, encounter. What was that in ethos, pathos, and emotions? The first one, credibility. You establish the credibility. You make that connection. Then, husnul istima. It's pathos or ethos, emotions.
Empathic. Yeah, that's pathos.
That's pathos?
Emotions.
Okay, maybe let me go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, pathos, emotions. Yeah, good job.
It's the foundation of grade 9 English, so they take it every day.
Okay. So again,
And students know this.
They do?
They're familiar with these.
okay, so we can use this, right?
Yes.
This hadith is very powerful,
I didn't see it from the Arabic way. That's
Right.
actually very beneficial.
right? This we have this like in Islamic text, right? And then husnul jawab. When you're giving that answer, that need to be logical, right? That's logo. Okay? So again, three things indicate the discerning opinion, good interaction, your relationship, your good listening, empathic listening, and your good response. If we do these things, then like we can have this first seek to understand, then to be understood. Okay? Let me see if today I finish on time. 6 minutes before. All right. Any question?
Do we have a, I don't know off the top of your head, or a hadith about, so where you were just on, Maulana, earlier on the hadith that we had from, so,
This one?
yes.
Okay.
So, husnul jawab, so like, when somebody comes and I'm trying to understand them, and I'm formulating a response after I've understood, right? First, listen, then prescribe. So what am I creating first? Am I first creating that connection, or is it that I have this response and I'm trying to see how to give that response to that person that will resonate with them? I don't know if my question makes, and I'll tell you why this question. So in teacher training, they have the 3 R's. When you design a lesson, you design it with rigor.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the relationships of how to get that lesson to the student, and you have to make it relevant, which is ethos, pathos, logos.
Right.
Now, when you design a lesson, you do it in this way. When you deliver it, you do it backwards.
Hmm.
First, you have to make it relevant. So first, the credibility. Here's why this is important. This is going to help you with this job. This is going to help you pass your test at whatever level. Then relationship.
Right.
So now, if that relationship is built, the student will want to learn something new from this teacher. And then it's rigor. Now that I've gotten you to be invested, now that I've gotten the hook, 5E lesson model, 3, now that I've now connected with you emotionally, the relationship, now I can push the rigor. So you design this way, you teach this way.
Right. Right.
So I'm thinking that the way that the Imam says it, it's saying it from ethos, pathos, logos. Is that also how we deliver it? Because I'm thinking the jawab sometimes we're coming up with first, we're coming up with our answer first.
Yeah.
Is there something to clarify that for us?
Again, that's an hadith, right? That's an hadith. We do have other ahadith. Like Shahid Awwal, he used to say, as for rigor, right? He says, there's one time that takrar 1,000 times, alpha times, right? If you look for that credibility, whenever we talk about, before we teach anything, like for example, Prophet Muhammad, he has to come and invite people towards prophethood. For 40 years, he's creating that credibility as an Amin and Sadiq. He's credible. He's Masoom, right? With all the Aima alayhi salam, that credibility in that sense, that whatever they will say, nothing is wrong, right? In that sense. I'm not saying 100% everything is matching, because this example is not something that I can say that pathos and everything 100% is compared. It's close. It's not 100%, right? Or maybe in education it's a different way. But again, in Islamic teaching, that credibility, authenticity, why I have to follow Marji? He has to be authentic, right? An alim. Why this libas? This need to be an authentic person before he will tell me something. And then obviously, that requires like a pace. It requires like all the time in this tabligh, our asatid used to say that they always make this joke that one alim, he was like new talib-e-ilm, he was like, there was a goat and he had several cattle and goat. He was like, he was anxious that when this goat will become big and have more meat and good. So he was keep feeding and just keep checking the weight. He says, don't do this in tabligh. It takes time, guys. It takes time. Over and over and over and over, right? So, yeah, I mean, of course, and again, other things, like for example, when Aimma alayhi salam, you saw that one time Imam Sadiq is, again, one guy saw that one person came, he asked one question from Imam answered this way. The second person came, he asked the same question, different. Third person came, third answer. What Imam said, we talk on the basis of the people's understanding. That communication, which means Imam understood, right, active listening, he understood this person, he understood, and his response, that jawab, husne jawab, is that it's based on his level. It's not that a toddler will come and he's asking something about subtraction. I have to tell him on the higher level. I have to tell him on a lower level, on his level, right? I don't know if I'll be able to answer or understood your question properly. So again, I'm not saying that there is everything it's coming from the science, but I'm saying the principles are same. Detail may be different, right? Maybe in education, their experience is this way, and if you look for talim o tarbiyat or like parvarish, you find that they have a different rules and regulations over there around that. Inshallah.
As a teacher, I think it also needs to be, we also need to establish that credibility as a teacher.
Yes.
And building relationships.
So as a teacher, not only as a teacher, when it comes for the human interaction, also that person trusts you, that you understand that person. Why we have a problem with our children? Because the first thing they say is that you do not understand us. That's why they don't communicate. So the method over here is that we have to have this active listening, verify their emotions, and then do not use any biological response, autobiographical response that this happened with me, because that's how you're looking from your own reference. You have to look from that person's reference. And how you're going to do it, keep asking, and verifying that emotions, and then this person will open up gradually. Understanding for the feeling, and you use the word that, okay, you seems like upset, okay? You seems like someone is not doing justice with your best friend. This way, the child will feel that, okay, this person is understanding, and he will start opening, and then he will seek your advice. Otherwise, he's not going to seek your advice. He's not going to trust you.
Validate his emotion.
You validate his emotion. You validate his personality.
I think even the example you gave with the Holy Prophet is the 40 years of building credibility, and then always smiling, being excellent listener to the believers and the kuffar likewise, and all because this message, right? Not the logos, this message is Quran to deliver. I think even there, it won't make sense.
I mean, Prophet used to have this habit of listening, that they used to taunt him with udhun. He says, you are like gush, ear. Because he's listening. He's not replying. He's listening. They taunt Prophet. But we are missing that part. I mean, I'm personally missing it big time, right? So, yeah. We need to have this, we need to understand people. People are coming from a different background. And that's why I keep saying, majority of the people, when I'm interacting with the people, 99% people, they're good people. Yes, we have disagreements because they're coming from a different background. They have different kind of experience in their life. They may have, some of them have a trauma, some of them they have a family problem, some of them they have a financial problem, some of them they didn't get, their trust never got built up. Like I'm in the parenting class, I was saying the infant, when it's from 0 to 18 months, this is the time where you're building the trust. How you're building the trust? If that child, like let's say, he's hungry. If he trusts you that you're taking care of that, then that trust, not just with you, with rest of the world, trust will build. But if this child somehow feel insecure during this age, when he will grow up, he may not have a trust for the other world. He feel insecure. Okay, so I'm right now. That's the trial. That's the trial. We are surrounded by so many different personalities. We should not label them. If we use this technique, we try to understand them. And when they realize that we are trying to understand them, this will create trust. This will create trust. And then they will seek advice. They will come closer to you. I think this habit is big time missing. Pretty much. In fact, like Stephen Covey, he asked this part. Okay? In communication, you have several things, right? Written communication, spoken communication, right? So many other things. How many hours or years and months you spend for speaking, learning to how to speak, right? So many years, right? Learning to write, learning to read. How many years you do listening? 0. We don't have any training for listening. We have training for speaking. That's the problem. Okay. Well, thank you. Jazakallah, inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you. Jazakallah, inshallah. Thank you. Thank you. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.